Hello and welcome back to The American Dream. I am Kurt Wannebo. I am going to be your host for the next several minutes. And today I have a very special guest by the name of Brian Brown with Brian Brown Studio. He is an interior designer. So Brian, thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, so first, why don't you introduce the audience and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Okay. So I'm Brian Brown. I'm the owner of Brian Brown Studio. We're a full-service design firm located in Point Loma. We do everything from remodels for homes to hotel projects. We're doing a big hotel project in Florida right now. We do a lot of commercial work. We kind of run the gamut.
Okay, so you work in a lot of different fields. But today I want to focus a little bit more on the residential real estate side of things, because that's where I work, and that's where we've worked together before.
Absolutely.
So tell me, when someone's considering doing some interior design or some remodel, and they come to you and let you know this and want to know about your services, what is one of the first and most important questions you ask of them?
Probably the most important question is, what is your goal for the project? What do you want the end result to be? Do you want it to add value to your home? Do you want it to add value to your personal life, to your family's life? Or do you want a combination of the two?
So they kind of have two paths that they can go down. And if it's going to be the matter of them living in the home, then you might go down and really get more specialized as to what it is that they want. Does that sound right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But if they're going to do something that's more designed around gaining value for their property, then you might go down a different path.
Absolutely.
You have to take into consideration what other buyers are looking for, et cetera. So let's focus in and tell me some of the things that in today's market that people are really looking for or things that they can do to add value to their property.
Absolutely. So I think the biggest spot someone can add value to their home is in their kitchen. People love to entertain these days. People love to have guests over. They like to have their whole family encompassed in one area. Rooms aren't split off like they used to be. So opening up your kitchen if it's closed off, adding a great big island and opening it up to, say, the family room or the living room, or trying to, depending on your setup, creating one great room for everybody to hang out in. And even opening that up to the outdoors is a huge thing. We live in a beautiful climate. We live in San Diego. So it's really great to take advantage of that and have your family, have kind of an indoor-outdoor setup.
So I know at times when people are talking about remodeling their kitchen, they're focused on the color of the cabinets and what type of surface they're going to do on the countertops. But you're saying you might actually get more value if you change the whole concept of the kitchen. Oh,
absolutely. I mean, you really want that wow factor when you walk into a home, right? So I know you deal with buyers all the time, and if you walk into a home that has a huge open floor plan, it just feels so much bigger and more inviting instead of, kind of trolling through the house room by room and saying this is that. If you could just get one shot in the open and see the whole home, it just adds a huge wow factor.
Do you have any examples recently of homes that you've done and how much money they've made off of that investment?
Yeah, absolutely. So one family, actually, they weren't going to do a resale. It was actually a client of yours as well. We designed their home specifically to their needs. It was, very tailored to their design aesthetic. And a year after the remodel, they came to you and said they wanted to sell their home, which was a huge shock, but now they live in a bigger, more beautiful home. And
what was interesting about them is that, that was more of a traditional tract home, but you guys redesigned it such that it was so much different than all of the other tract homes. And in the end, if you didn't know, we ended up selling that property for like $105,000 over asking with 12 offers. So people were really, really receptive to the design change that you made, and they did make probably a substantial amount of money off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And just another project that I recently did was on Pacifica in La Jolla. And it was a group of investors. It was a luxury flip, and they were able to make $350,000 off of that.
So when somebody's thinking about doing a remodel, what's the very first step? What's the very first thing that you ask them when you walk in the door and they're thinking about doing some type of remodel?
Okay, so question number one, have you ever been through a remodel before? Do you know the process? Do you have an architect in place if you're going to be moving walls or, creating new rooms, adding on to the home?
Right. So they got together a team. They might need an
Absolutely.
architecture, a contractor,
An
a
interior designer.
An interior designer. Where do you fit in specifically?
So I think your interior designer and your architect are probably the first people you should call. Probably your interior designer first,
Right.
just to see, you know, how the current space functions and what rooms speak to what rooms might meld together to make the bigger, more grand open space. And then from there, you can get an architect involved. If there's any question of structural soundness, you can get a structural engineer involved to make sure it's feasible before you start making plans and spending money on design fees and stuff like that.
And I'm assuming before they even assemble their whole team, they probably need to have a budget determined. Does that sound right?
Absolutely. Budget is key. You really need to sit down and think about what you're comfortable spending. How much money are you willing to put in to either, you know, you need to think about your return.
Right.
Or is it that you just want a beautiful space and you're willing to spend the money on that? So you have to look at the value.
So you'll
of
work
both
with them
ends.
on budget, obviously, and help guide them in that respect. Brian, I wanted to thank you for coming in. If people wanted to see more of your work or learn more about where they can find you and your services, where can they do?
You could go to brianbrownstudio.com.
Okay.
You can also call us at 619-221-9141.
Aren't you also seen and featured on House as well?
Yeah, so I'm a recommended designer on House and an influencer on House, so you can check me out at houzz.com.
Brian, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us a little bit today. We will be back with more of American Dream in just a few moments. Thank you for joining us.
All right, welcome back to the show. Finishing off every show, we always do the Sewing Says segment. This is where we answer your questions, whether we got them here from the American Dream, or we're every morning or every evening on 1170 AM with our radio show, or maybe just someone messaging us through social media. But if you go to craigsewing.com and you reach out and that contact form comes directly to me. So we're going to do a little bit of a special segment today. Kurt Wannebo just did a great segment on interior design, advancing the value of your home. We got him to stick around and do the Sewing Says segment with me. So, Kurt, thanks for sticking around.
All right, I'll do my best.
You are completely on the spot here, all right? So I want our audience to know that you have not seen any of these questions. And we get a whole bunch of them throughout the year, and here come a few at you. And by the way, Kurt also gets interviewed regularly by the Union Tribune. So as the #1 per Wall Street Journal last year, good guy to ask. Guys, how do interest rates affect the market? And what do you think will happen if they go up? So we can both take this one on, but we're in a low interest rate environment. There's low inventory. What do you think if we see rates go up?
Well, if rates go up, then inevitably what happens is it reduces the buyer's purchasing power. If they just go up a little bit, and it doesn't cause too much panic or change in the market, but if they start to climb, then again, that does decrease the affordability of buyers, which in turn then drags the pricing of homes down with it. So you have to be conscientious of, one, just watching to see if they're going to be going up, if they're going to continuously go up, and if they make a drastic change, then it definitely has a big impact in the market.
Something to keep in mind with interest rates and how they move with the bond market. So for them, the reason they're so low is because the stock market, the global marketplace isn't doing so well, moves money into bonds because they're safer, bond prices move up, their yields move down, mortgage rates. So if they're going to go up, it means the market's actually improving. So you might be having more jobs, wages going up. It's kind of a Rubik's Cube, but yeah, less buying power, more pressure. We like low rates. Low rates helps. Here's another one. This one's important. What's the best way to combat low inventory? So now you got a lot of people in the marketplace, can't get their offers accepted. It seems like that number is shrinking, not growing. How do you combat it?
So if you're a buyer and you're competing against multiple people, first you want to align yourself with an agent who's very strong and knowledgeable and experienced in regards to knowing how to write an offer that will get accepted without it just simply being the highest and best price, okay? The other thing the other reason you want to align yourself with a strong agent is they may know the market very well, and they may know of properties that are coming up on the market, and you may have the chance to jump on them before they actually hit the market. Some agents will actually do marketing campaigns for you in certain areas that you know you want to buy and try to find you a seller that isn't actually on the market. So those are ways to kind of circumvent having to always deal in just a multiple offer situation.
You know, and I'll give you this. There's 20,000 real estate licenses in San Diego. I wish there was about 1,000 of them, to be honest. No offense to some of you realtors, though. But when you work with a top-tier agent, some of them have their own inventory. I mean, he's got tons of listings on his hands, But when he's making these offers on behalf of buyers, a guy like Kurt, for example, or some of the other great realtors we have on the show, if you have a great reputation, that realtor on the other side, you represent a lot of listings. How important is that when you see the offer come through, that you know the agent, you know they're a real player, not just someone who got their license?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I take into consideration. When I have multiple offers, such as a property right now that I'm dealing with, I do take into consideration the experience level, the knowledge, the track record, their local area knowledge, and how they can sell me on their buyers all into the equation when advising my seller which offer to go with. And again, it isn't always about the highest price. It's about who do I feel is going to buy the property at a great price and close escrow the first time around.
All right, here's another good one we got. What are the best marketing strategies in today's marketplace? So let me kind of put my own spin on this, Kurt. So we know there's low inventory. We have people that think they should do for sale by owner, right? If there's so many offers, why do I need an agent? I can just put a sign in my yard and list it. So when this person that went to online and they're asking us, what are the best marketing strategies? Well, there's a difference between putting the home on the market and putting the home on the market and getting top dollar. Maybe get a guy like Brian to actually put some furniture in there and spice it up a bit like you did for your listing. But what are some of the best strategies that are going to take the price point up, which is the whole point of selling your house, is top dollar?
Well, to address the issue with the for sale by owner, you know, I hear this from them many times that it only takes one buyer to buy my property. And there's only ever going to be one buyer for the property, which is absolutely correct. However, in order to get the best and most and highest price for your property, you want to have the most amount of buyers with hopefully multiple offers to drive the price up as high as it'll possibly go. So that's one of the jobs of the real estate agent. Their job is to market your home, to not just find one buyer, but to find lots of them and expose to the property as to as many possible avenues that they can to make your property easier to find and for those buyers to come and want to take a look at it. Then from there, it's about negotiating and working with an agent that knows how to negotiate the best offer. And if you have multiple offers, driving that price up and putting them in a position where they're going to close escrow the first time around.
You know, when I get that question, I think back, this must have been 2 years ago, because this low inventory thing's been around for a while. 2 years ago, you were on our show. We weren't even in this studio. And you were discussing a plan that you developed with a home seller to where you can sell it on your own. And if you can beat the price point I can get, you can sell the home. But if I can beat the amount for you, you're going to see that we're going to get top dollar and you use me. I mean, that's a pretty no-risk situation. Unfortunately, we're out of time. We got a bunch of other ones here. Tell you what, we will get to all of the questions that you ask through craigsewing.com. Usually I'm responding on my computer here. You'll notice we do keep it confidential if we read it out loud. Don't list any names, but we'd love to help you out loud. But in the very least, if you go to craigsewing.com, we will respond within the same day any questions you might have. That's all for today's show. Kurt, thanks for sticking around, going on the hot seat. You passed with flying colors. Well done. Great segment on interior design with Brian. Jason Hall helping us understand the lending and insurance environment. And of course, the word on the American dream. But we are out for today. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget about our radio show on KCBQ, 1170 AM weekdays at 6 p.m. We'll see you tomorrow, 10:30 a.m., Channel 4.